All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
With the brothers from the Phoenix camp. That being said, we want to give all honor, glory, praise to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWAHSHI, BAHASHAM, QUADASH. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone. And peace and salutation to the brothers out there doing this work, man, with truth and sincerity. With that, we want to get into a quick lesson, about how we as being called to do this truth, we have to point out certain things, man. And one of those things that we have to point out is who the true children of the Lord is, who are the Israelites, man, in this day and age. And through the Spirit, it has been revealed to the apostles, to the elders of Great Millstone, who they are, man. And the Israelites, the ones that the Bible speaks of, these so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. And the Bible also speaks about confusion of faith, man. So there's going to be those Israelites that have that confusion of faith that look like other nations. The Bible says also that too, because the scriptures say that He's going to scatter His people all over the earth, man. It mentions that numerous times. So you're going to have Israelites by blood that looks to other nations, that look like so-called Moabites, so-called Edomites, so-called different nations, man. Ishmaelites. You're going to have different, but you're going to know about the Spirit, man, because our Spirit bears witness. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, brother.
Come on, brother. That's the Spirit. This is Romans chapter 8, verse 16. It says, the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. So this word resonates with us, all right? And we believe all things through the Spirit, man, and by faith. So we know that by reading the Word, which is the Spirit of the Most High, that we are the children of Israel. Going back to Genesis, what is that, the 25th chapter?
Yeah, Genesis 25th chapter, man. Also in that chapter where it breaks down the characteristics of the different tribes, man. And all you gotta do is connect the dots, and you can see how the characteristics of those tribes fit into our people today. It says this car is gonna be as strong as a servant to tribute, man. He's gonna be a hard worker. His name means that he is hired. You know what I'm saying? That's about your so-called Mexicans. It talks about the Gadites, these so-called Native Americans. It tells you about how he was skilled with the arrow, man. You know what I'm saying? And it tells you how the truth is going to overcome him. And if you can't connect the dots with that, man, then you're really it's not for you, man. Because if you got just a little bit of common sense, you can see that, man. But the thing is that it has been revealed unto us in these last days that so-called black Latinos and Native Americans are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. There's a lot of scoffers and scorners out there that they want to say that isn't so. But your history books tell you that, man. There's a lot of documented historical books written by your so-called white scholars, man. And in certain Bibles and certain commentaries, they'll tell you that too, that these white scholars, so these white scholars know, these white biblical scholars, they know who the true Israelites are. But they always got to fit themselves into it, man. They're trying to fit themselves way into salvation, even though they know that deep down and deep down that this ain't for them, man. They're going to receive judgment. You so-called Edomites, you white people are going to receive judgment of the Most High, and that's all there is to it. You might say, oh, man, the Lord is like that. The Lord is like that, man. That's something, brother?
Back here. Amos 3:7, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but He revealeth His secrets unto His servants the prophets. That's how we know what we know, man. That's why, because the Most High revealed it to the apostles, starting with the apostles on down. He gave us a vision and allowed us to understand that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians are the so-called children of Israel, man. And through prophecy, we through like the brother was describing, man, the breakdown of the tribes. How the tribes are going to be in the end of days. We know that those particular people that are living down the earth fit those characteristics of each tribe, man. So that's how we know that those are the people of the Most High, man. And through the Spirit, of course, that Spirit has to be working within you to know that, hey, man, those are Jacob, those are the Israelites, man. Who else can it be here? Not them.
Come, man, if you can go up on I think on the same chapter of Acts, was it at
Sure, Trump would be known in the city.
No, it was you only are known about the family of the earth.
Amos 3.
Yeah, 3 on
I got it right here.
Go ahead, brother.
This is Amos 3:1. It says, hear this word that YAHAWAH has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, and that's another thing too, because it's documented in history that the children that were in Egypt, the people that were in slavery under the Egyptians, were dark-skinned people, man, who were sold on cargo slave ships into the Americas and throughout all the world, as is prophesied in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. So this truth is being revealed, is being unearthed. So, we know also by facts, but we also know to the Spirit. It says, "You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities." Right? So the Lord's saying that the Lord only knows the children of Israel through all the families, talking about all the other nations, all the other people. The scriptures also speak about the other nations being as like a drop that falleth from a bucket in the book of Isaiah. And I will punish you for iniquities. So that's how you know, that's through the curses, all right, that are in the book of Deuteronomy 28, that the children of Israel, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and also the confusion of faces, because it was prophesied that the Lord would scatter his people for their what? For their iniquities, for serving other gods, for being wicked. All right, but that's what the Lord has revealed to his servants, the prophets. That's what we're doing. We're teaching. All right, Lord, when we be those men, but that's what's coming out. And a lot of people can't receive it. You got guys that come up against the great millstone camps and say certain things, and they want to bring all nations into salvation, but you cannot save the wicked, man. You cannot save the so-called white man. He was made for that particular purpose.
Come, man, and then also, Brother said in the days of that bondage in Egypt, the Egyptians were dark-skinned people too, because they mistake Paul for an Egyptian. They mistake Joseph for an Egyptian, man. You know what I'm saying? So they were dark-skinned too, and all you gotta do is Google what color were the ancient Egyptians. It's gonna say that they were a dark-skinned people, man. You know what I'm saying? So these different movies, they try to picture them as fair skin or light skin, but they were dark skinned, man. They were dark skinned. You know, that they had a dark complexion. You know, like Negro. You know, saying like what they call a so-called black man today. They had that dark complexion, man. You know, and there's different shades of brown, man. You know, that's why the Israelites are different shades of brown, going on from dark like Judy, so-called Negroes, to light brown. You know, to you Ephraimites, you Puerto Ricans, man, you so-called Mexicans. You know, you got something, brother?
Yeah, just to bring it up, man. That's why that's how we know the Lord was a dark-skinned man as well, because when they fled Judea to when Pharaoh was killing the babies, they fled to Egypt for sanctuary. So to blend with the people, they had to be dark-skinned people, man. So when they fled there, they wouldn't stand out. I got something, to go into that. The Most High only chose Israel, man. That's his people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, man. This is Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power. The Lord thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So the Most High, he himself right there declared that there's a separation between us and the other nations, man. All nations aren't created equal, man. The Israelites are above all the people upon the whole earth, man. And I have another quick one. This is Psalms 147 and
While you getting that, brother, man, I gotta bring this one real quick. Just Psalm 147:19. It said he shows.
that was the one I was trying to get.
Trying to get that one?
Yeah, you got it.
He shows his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel, man. So this whole Bible, these scriptures, they're only for one set group of people. They're not for the whole world. They're not for these other nations. They're to instruct and to guide and to teach one set of people and one set of people only. And that's you Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. But more specifically, this book is only for the elect. This book is really only for the prophets of the Lord to teach out of, to be instructed out of, to be corrected out of, man. To know what the signs of the times are going to be. But ultimately, all Israel will be saved. But at this moment, only the Lord's only looking for his elect. The Lord's only fishing for his elect, man. I'm gonna keep on going and say he has not dealt so with any nation. So that reinforces the point right there, man. If you go to Isaiah 40 and 15, brother, you can get that for me. That goes into that scripture that he don't care about these other nations, man. The Most High don't care about these other nations. I'll read that back. So he not dealt so with any nation. I mean, he hasn't given his word. He hasn't given his statutes, his judgments. He hasn't given. If you could read about that in Romans the 9th chapter, if you could, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He hasn't given this word, this prophecy, these scriptures, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding to any other people on the earth. Only to the Israelites, which are you so-called Black Latinos and Native Americans, man. Because what brothers do out there in the highways and byways, that's a spiritual, mystical thing, man. That's something that goes beyond comprehension of how these brothers diligently on a weekly basis and throughout the course of the week, they constantly have the spirit on to bring out this word, man. You know? And what you think is the lowest form of life on earth, because you so-called white people, you think that the Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the lowest form of life on earth, man. You wouldn't think that we would have this knowledge, we understand the Bible, man. But the truth of the matter is that whenever somebody tries to come and confound any other brother that's what's in this truth, you're the one that gets cut up, man. You're the one that can't come up with historical facts. You're the one that can't come up with precept upon precept, line upon line. You're the ones that get caught up because the Spirit's not on you to know these scriptures, man. The Spirit's not on you to have the knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That Spirit's only given to the men that the Lord has called to do this work. And when He called you to do this work, He put that spirit of prophecy on you, man. He put that spirit of understanding on you to know these scriptures, man. He sent those men over you to teach you these things. So as far as who got the truth, the scripture said it right there. He has not done so with any nation, and for his judgments they have not known them. Praise ye the Most High, man. And so we praise the Lord for that, man. We praise the Lord for revealing to us these deep, dark mysteries, man. You know, that's only brother.
Yeah, praise him back here what we're saying. This is 1 Corinthians 2:12. Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the spirit which is of the Most High, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of the Most High. You know, that's what the brother's speaking of, man. You know, the Most High gave us this spirit to be out there in the highways and byways, week in, week out, prophesying the truth, you know, glorifying His name and exalting brothers to come back to the fold, you know. But ultimately, it's only going to be for the elect, man, and the elect are the ones that matter right now, you know. And you know, there's a lot of confusion going into the confusion of faces too, man, because you know, the people will think that we are contradicting ourselves when we say, oh, you know, Esau's going to be finished, but yet again, you'll see a Edomite-looking brother in the camp, man. But these people don't understand, man, that we were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and that we mix and mingle with all the people, with all the other nations. And when you mingle with a woman of another nation, man, your children start getting the characteristics of these other heathen nations, man. You know, so hey, man, don't be surprised when you see Jay coming that you think is an Edomite or a Moabite or any nation under the earth, and Jake look like that, man. But Jake's gonna have a different spirit on him. You know, you're gonna know that he's a Jake by his spirit, man, because Jake got a distinct spirit to him from all these other heathen nations, man. He got the salt of the earth, you know.
Oh man, like the brother was saying about the confusion of faith, because the scriptures plainly say that you are what your father is. You're not half this, half that, a quarter this, 1/3 that. You are what your father is, man. So if your father if your father was a so-called black man, your mother was a so-called white woman, you're not half black, half white. You're black, man. I mean, you're so-called black, you're so-called Negro. You know, the scriptures go by what your father is, because his seed is the only thing that matters. So like the brother says, man, back in the ancient days, those Israelites, those ancient men, those men of old, man, they went up into these women of these foreign nations, and they made Israelite babies, but their appearance over time changed to that of the other nations around them, man. So you're going to have, like the brother said, you're going to have Israelites in this thing that look like so-called white people, man. That look like so-called Ishmaelites, look like so-called Ammonites. And, you know, like the brother said, the scripture said that we were scattered all over the earth because of our disobedience to the Most High, man.
This is Deuteronomy 28 and 63, right? And Deuteronomy 28, all right. This isn't a Hebrew Israelite religion. This is the truth about who the children of Israel really are, man. All right. But you're reading the scriptures precept upon precept, and it tells you, all right. It tells you what the mystery of the Lord was, even the mystery of the Gentiles. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 63. And it shall come to pass that as Yahawah rejoice over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And you shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And Yahawah shall scatter thee among all people. All right, so if the Lord said that He would scatter us, man, these were curses. If you read it in Deuteronomy 28:15, it says these things will happen to you if you wouldn't obey the Lord. So the Lord scattered His people, the Israelites, throughout the whole world. Now, what were those people going to do? The men were going to obviously have children with the women from them nations, man. It's just natural. It says, among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And that's another thing too. Well, they went to the other nations, they served other gods, which just made the Lord even more angry, man. So that's what we're doing. You know, the Lord has put the Spirit upon us, man, to rise up on our feet, to remember. It also tells you in the book of Baruch, they shall remember me in the land of their captivities, because wherever you find an Israelite or an Israelite foreigner, you're going to find them in a low estate in captivity. You know, the other nations will be over him. So that's what we're here to set the record straight, man. That, you know, the true biblical Israelites are you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and you dispersed, you Israelites that were scattered throughout all the world. So the Lord's bringing them back. There's a lot of brothers from different countries in different camps rising up, you know, professing the name of YAHAWAHSHI and his true doctrine.
And that's been proven too, because there's been wherever Israel scattered, man, they live in the worst places they live in the worst places of that particular country, man. You know, it's been proven, man. You look it up, you do some research, and you look up certain tribes from certain countries, man. That certain tribe will be living in the poorest places, but they'll have the characteristics of an Israelite, man. They'll have certain customs that you can relate to the Israelites, man. So that's why because these nations know that these people aren't themselves, you know, that they know that they're a different people. So they'll put the curses on them, man. Hey, the curses, you can't escape the curses, man. You could be across the world, you're gonna feel the curses for being an Israelite, man, for having that spirit of righteousness within you, you know. They know that you have the power of YAHAWAHSHI. So hey, man, these nations could point us out, man. They point out Jake, man, because they know that spirit, man. They don't got it, and it's strange to them that lively spirit, that salt that Jake has, you know.
I got this real quick. This is in the you can find this on the online etymology dictionary. That word ghetto, it's a noun, it's 16 tense. Part of a city in which Jews are compelled to live. Yeah. Now, who are the real Jews, man? The Negroes, man. All right, starting with the Negroes, especially in Italy, from the Italian ghetto, part of a city to which Jews are restricted. All right, part of a city to where Jews are restricted, man. That means that they would push them, the Jews, they would push them to what? To the ghettos, man. Who do you find in the ghettos today, man? No other than you so-called blacks, you Hispanics, you Native Americans are living in the ghettos of the cities or where you're from or where you live. All right, so this knowledge is coming out, man. You got guys trying to debate this, man, but hey, it's you know, brothers have said, man, you know, not everybody's gonna get it, man. Those people who the Lord designates to get it will, all right, and those who He doesn't, they're not gonna receive it, man.
Kind of like the brothers going into that word ghetto. They said that's part of the curses, man. That's Deuteronomy, I'm gonna give you a quick Deuteronomy 28:16. Cursed thou shalt be in the city, man. So that means that you're gonna be in that low condition. Wherever you living at, you're gonna be pushing that low condition, man. You're gonna be living in that lower state. The other nations are gonna see you, and they see that they know that they through the Spirit, they know that you're an Israelite. So they know they can't describe. They don't know exactly you're an Israelite, but they just know that they hate you. You know what I'm saying? They just know that they hate this group of people. Even though they may look exactly like them, they just know for some reason they hate this group of people. You know, and you could see that, man. Jake feels that curse upon him. You know, we all brothers, we know we can testify to the curses, leaving these curses out, man. You know, but whether you're a confusion of faith or whether you look like a so-called Black Latino Native American, you know, you're an Israelite if that spirit was in you, man. And you know what you got, man?
Yeah. Jeremiah 12:9. My heritage unto me as a speckled bird.
And that's going to if you look up the speckled bird, he got different shades of brown on it, man.
I got on blue letter.
Go ahead, please.
It says for the blue letter. It's an H641. It says color, very speckled.
Yeah, very very okay. See, so speckled means like different colors, man. So it says that. Read that back again.
My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird.
Yeah, so it's going to be different colors. basically what it's saying, man. A speckled bird. If you Google an image of a speckled bird, you'll see what we're talking about, man.
Like a parakeet, man, or a parrot. Them birds have a lot of different colors on them. That's talking about all the tribes of Israel, man. All the tribes of Israel are different shades, man. You know what I'm saying? Like a speckled bird.
And it also says that Ephraim is a cake not turned, man. So what's a cake not turned? It's light on one side, it's dark on the other. And Ephraim is the so-called northern kingdom, man. Ephraim signifies the northern kingdom. So the northern kingdom, it ranges from very dark skin to very light skin, man. You have those Puerto Ricans, which are you Ephraimites, they have that very light skin, man. And you have Gadites, you Native Americans, you have that very dark skin, man. And if you look back at the so-called Gadites, they have the same color as so-called Negroes, man. You can even find a book called Black Indians, man, where it shows how they were.
Hey, the Most High is a power of diversity, man. He likes diversity. He creates. He ain't a boring power, man. He likes diversity. That's why he created so many animals, man. There's so many versions of a cat. There's all kinds of cats. There's all kinds of beetles. Same thing with us, man. He created. Gad had that long hair, man. That nice straight hair. They had that because of what were they? Warriors, man. When you're a warrior, that hair is more. It suits you better when you're out there in the war. What happened to that king that he had a big ass fro and he got caught between the two trees. Because that hair suits more. That's how the Most High creates things, man. He's diverse, in everything he does, man.
Just like if you look at the animal kingdom, different animals have different purposes, man. Saying there's animals that are scavengers, there's animals that are hunters, but they all work in a balance. You know what I'm saying? So the Lord is like that, man. He creates everything in balance. He created people in balance. He created the wicked, which you so-called white people and you heathen nation. And he also our people are wicked too. But you other nations and you Edomites, you're born to be wicked, man. You're born to be wicked. That was your whole destiny and purpose, to be wicked, man. Especially you Edomites, so-called white people, man. And you other heathen nations, you were created to be a servant unto the Israelites, man. And you're going to find out that that's going to be very true in the upcoming future.
Go ahead, what's that? You got something? Okay. This is the book of Daniel 9:7. It says, O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces. Right? So there's a confusion of faces right now, man. Because a lot of Israelites, they're not all going to be dark, like the brother was going into. Israel's like a speckled bird. There's going to be a lot of different shades of Israelites, this is but unto us confusion of faces as at this day. So even to this day, this is to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. So both kingdoms, the northern kingdom, all right, which are you Hispanics and you Native Americans, and your southern kingdom, which is the Negroes.
All right, dark skin tribes.
And it says, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off. Far off where? All across the world, from one end of the globe to the other end of the globe. It says, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. Right? So the Bible tells us that Israelites were scattered all over the world. They look different, and to this day there would be a confusion of face. You would actually look at, you'll look at a brother in the camp. You look at a brother that's teaching. That's what these people don't know. They're like, oh yeah, white people in the camp. You don't like white people, all right? But it's not, man, because it's a real confusion of faith. You're confused. You're like, man, wait a minute, man. Is this dad, Jay? So we let him in the camp. Like, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was prophesied. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's through the Spirit. We went into it, man. Because the scriptures tell you that Edomite, another nation will not come into this truth, man.
Connie, you know what? You so-called white people always they bring up that thou shalt not abhor Edomite scripture, man. The thing about it is that you have a wrong understanding of that word right there. Because if you look into the blue letter, what does it mean? It means Syrian, don't it? Syrian. Yeah, all it is a misplacing of just like one little dot or something like that. It's spelled in the Hebrew, and it turns into the word Syrian. But you devils, you change that around, man, because these devils, these Edomites, they try to snake their way into salvation, but they can't, man. No matter how hard they try. And you see that they're doing that because every time there's a movie about a biblical era or historical biblical movie, what do they show? They show the Israelites or what you call Jesus Christ. They show him as a so-called fucking white man, and they know that he wasn't, man. They know that he wasn't. You know, what else do they do? If you look at that Bible series, that Bible AD series, they got us speaking like with like English accents, man. You know what I'm saying? Like what the fuck is that?
All soft and shit.
Yeah, it's all very soft-spoken. And YAHAWAHSHI was not a soft-spoken man. YAHAWAHSHI, when you call Jesus Christ, he wasn't a soft-spoken man. He was an austere man.
Neither was Peter, man. They like showing Peter all
faggoty
and shit, you know what I mean?
feminine,
You know Peter was a word, man. He wasn't no.
Yeah, he cut a motherfucker's ear off, man.
Yeah.
So you gotta be down for your shit if you to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be down to put in work, man. You know what I'm saying?
Let me say real quick, man. In the book of Revelation, it tells you, man, the city, the spiritually Sodom and Gomorrah, where our Lord was crucified. Because only in America they crucified the Lord and put him to be what? A no good white man.
Gosh.
In the other countries all over the world, man, they depict him as a Negro, man. It's only here where you blockheads in Babylon believe, all right, and haven't been woken up.
I was going to come, because we're going into, because, hey, man, the confusion of faith is important, man, because those are the dispersed, those are the Gentiles that the scriptures talk about, man. It doesn't talk about you Gentiles, you heathen Gentiles, it talks about the Gentiles that are in a Gentile state of mind, man. That they believe, they've been around these other nations for such a long time that they have forgotten their own customs and took up the customs of the Gentiles, of the heathen, So, hey, man, like Timothy, his father was they called him a Greek, but he was an Israelite, man, but he was just so Hellenized that the scriptures describe him as a Greek because he pretty much was a Greek, man. The scriptures say that Jake will surpass the deeds of the wicked, man. So, hey, man, you best believe he was a hardcore Greek. He upholds all the philosophies of these Greeks, man.
But that's where that word Hellenist comes from, man. Because they like to interchange the word Gentile and Hellenist. And when you look up that, there's two different meanings for that, but they use the same word Gentile to describe it. And when the Lord's talking about our people, when it says Gentiles, he's talking about Hellenists, which means that they were Jews who took on the customs and the culture of the surrounding country, or the Greeks or the Grecians, man. In other words, that word Grecian too, you break it down when you look into certain Bibles, they have like different little meanings in it. Little words like it'll say Hellenist, man. It'll say something to that effect. But that's another way that these Edomites, they try to confuse you, man. Try to sneak their way into salvation, saying that the Lord loves everybody. You know what I'm saying?
I got something.
Go ahead.
Let me just finish.
I want to back this brother real fast. It says the Hebrews were Jewish Christians who spoke almost exclusively Aramaic, but they're going off right there. They spoke Hebrew. It says, and the Hellenists were also Jewish Christians whose mother tongue was Greek.
Oh, see, man.
Greek-speaking Jews. It says they were Greek-speaking Jews, and that's what the brothers went into, man. The Greeks, when they speak, like the brother brought it out. The Greeks that it's talking about in the Bible, they're actually Jews, man. And the Gentiles that Paul went to, those were actually Israelites that were living, that were the scattered. They were the ones that were of the what you call the diaspora, where the Lord separated. Where He scattered His people, the Israelites, throughout the whole world. He went to them. It is not written in Matthew, go not unto the Samaritans or enter into none of the city, but unto the lost children, the lost sheep of the house of Israel, man.
Wow, man, that's calm, but like that brother brought up, man, that word right there. What's that word, that definition of?
It says they were Hellenists were also Jewish Christians, all right? The Christian is Hamashiachim in the Hebrew, which were disciples and followers of YAHAWAHSHI.
Yeah, but the key word of that is Jewish, which we know it means Judean or Judah, which is you so-called Israelites, man.
Yeah.
So don't get it twisted, man. And we know through the Spirit that this book, this law, statutes, commandments, these scriptures, they belong to only a certain group of people, man. You so-called Black and children, Native American. More specifically at this time, it's only for the elect, man.
Hey, man, and that's why there's even a law. There's even a law for that, man, for the strangers. A lot of the strangers, where you have Israelites that went out to live in other lands, man. And when they would come back, they would have a lot of land for them according to the law, you know, because they were Israelites no matter what, but they were known as the strangers, you know. That's how that's another thing in the scriptures, man. It doesn't mean strangers as in the other nations, man, because hey, man, the Most High don't work like that, man, you know. Like we brought up in the beginning, man, salvation is only for Israel. His covenant was only made with Israel, you know. But I want to bring this up. This is Isaiah 11:12, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall gather and shall assemble the outcasts of the Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. You know, and that's the prophecy that's being fulfilled right now, man. You know, you got camps popping up everywhere throughout the world, you know, and that's a future prophecy that has to be fulfilled. You know, the Most High said that He should bring the end once this world reached the whole ends of the world, man, and it's being fulfilled, man. You know, and to back up, you know, the point that this word's only for the Israelites, man. This is what James said, man. This is James 1:1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord YAHAWAHSHI, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. You know. And you know that explains that who he was talking to, man. Who were these letters for? You know, they weren't from any other nation, man. You can't bring a heathen into this thing, man. You know, it's a complete confusion, man. That creates confusion, man, because that would mean that the Most High is a liar, man, and the Most High ain't a man that he should lie. You know, everything that this whole Bible links up together, man. You know, but you gotta understand that this Bible was translated into many languages. So throughout, when you translate a book from the Hebrew to another language, it loses that value. It describes that in the book of Sirach. You know, it says the words uttered in Hebrew don't hold the same value as when you utter them in a different language, man. So when this Hebrew Bible was written, man, there was words for everything. You know, the words were more to the point, if that makes sense. Because when they get translated, they lose certain power to them. They lose certain, you know, like it says, meanings get lost through translation, man. You know, that's what happened, man. That's why you got so much confusion with the scriptures, man. But we got the tools, man, through the apostles. You know, they gave us these tools, the blue Bible, where we could look up the words. You know, that's why the apostles of Great Millstone are so keen into looking into words, man. Because when you look into the words, you get a more complete understanding of what the scriptures are really talking about, man. When you go back to the language that the scriptures were written at, you know, you'll get a more complete understanding. And you know, ultimately, it's through the Spirit. The Spirit's working with you, and Most High YAHAWAHSHI allows you to receive this word, or else you're not gonna get it, man. No matter what we do, what we tell you, you know, what we bring up, you know, you're not gonna get it, man. You know, the Spirit has to be working with you ultimately.
John, man, like the brother said, the Spirit has to be working with you, but through the Spirit, we've been given these tools, man, by apostles of Great Millstone. We've been given to look into the etymology, you know what I'm saying, to look into the Strongs, the Hebrew and the Greek, you know what I'm saying, to look at the true definition of the words that were in this book, man, to further our understanding of these scriptures. You know, and there's also, like we said, there's also historical documents that, you know, like the brother just brought up about the Hellenists, man. You know, there's all these tools that if a man that wants to be studious and know this truth, he's going to look into those words, man. He's not going to. The scriptures say to be what? Very loving paraphrasing, that every man be persuaded in his own mind, man. You know, so through if your Spirit is dealing with you, you're going to find out and know these things, and you will be persuaded to your own mind, man. You know, you will be persuaded. You know, the scripture's going to tell you that the Spirit's going to work with you and tell you, man, this is the way, walk ye in it, man. You know? You got something?
I got something. This is the book of, this is another thing. There's another thing too. Man, they discredit this book, the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha tells you about the Greeks that fought against the Maccabees. Mm-hmm. All right? I got this real quick. I looked it up, the Maccabean Revolt. It says, the Maccabean Revolt was a Jewish rebellion lasting from 167 to 160 BC, led by the Maccabees, all right? Which the Maccabees were Jews. They were Negroes, man. All right? Against the Seleucid Empire. I looked up that Seleucid Empire. They were Greeks. They were what you call white people. They were Edomites. It says, and the Hellenistic influence on Jewish life, because the Jews. All right, Judas Maccabeus, Matthias, his father, and his brothers, they didn't want to be Hellenized, man. So I'm going to get this real fast. It says, This is 2 Maccabees 6:3. The coming in of this mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places. And besides that, brought in things that were not lawful. The altar also was filled with profane things which were law forbidden. So they sacrificed on the altar of the Jews of animals that weren't lawful to eat. All right, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. And that's what the Edomites were about. They didn't want the Jews to be what? Holy. They didn't let them keep the Sabbath or the ancient feasts. And they couldn't be called themselves a Jew. They couldn't circumcise their children. And that's what happened to our people. That's what happened. And that's what these Edomites try to do now. They try to teach you about a white Jesus. They try to teach you about, don't have a beard. Don't circumcise your kids. All the laws all done away with. All right, all you can eat whatever animals. It's the same thing going on. That's why you Edomites cannot get this knowledge, man, because you guys want to pervert it. You know what I'm saying? You want to profane it. Go ahead, bro.
Man, like another key thing to speak about that the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha has been part of the scriptures longer than it's been out of the scriptures, man. So I think the Apocrypha, if I remember correctly, it was part of the King James Version Bible for 265 years, man. So they know that this is part of the Holy Scriptures. But the so-called these Protestants, they took it out, man. Because why? Because they revealed certain truths about who the children of Israel were. You know, it tells you how the 10 tribes came over here. You know, you Latino Native American tribe. It tells you how you came over here, man. You know, it gives certain things, man. A certain prophecy, like in the book of Esther, man, that that they don't want you to know. That's why they took this Bible out, because it cuts them, man. You know, it cuts them. So they try to say it's not canon, whether that's their word for it. That's not part of the Holy Scriptures. You got something?
Yeah, so that now the Gentiles were only for part of Jacob,
Yeah.
or Israel. It's Psalm 147:19. He shewed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He have not dealt so with any other nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Most High.
Yeah. So the Gentiles, with the word Gentile, when you break it down, it means heathen nation. That's why when there's certain parts of the Bible where the Edomites, they try to put that word Gentile when they're talking about Hellenists, when they're talking about the Grecians, which were Hellenists too. That they try to put that confusion on you, man. But the truth of the matter is that the Lord is only giving this to his people. Like the book talking about confusion of faith. So we're gonna have a confusion of faith of who we are, and we're gonna have a confusion of faith of who really is an Israelite, man. You know, we've been confused. So we thought growing up that we were just a shit of the earth, man. And the good news of the gospel told us that we are Israelites, and we are the people of the book, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's good news unto us. That's the secret, the mysteries that were revealed in these last days. Because in these last days, the scripture said that all things shall be revealed, man. That which was spoken in when darkness is going to be revealed to the light, man. That which was talked about in the corner is going to be shouted on rooftops. That's what brother on the highways and byways are doing, man. We're shouting out that truth that's been hidden, for the past whatever hundreds of years by the so-called white people, man. Where the Lord said that at the last days He's going to reveal this truth, that He's going to scatter His people, and the only way He's going to do that is bringing out this word by the highways and byways and hedges, by the men you see standing out there, man, risking their lives to do this work, man. Go ahead, brother.
This is Daniel 12:4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal that book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And it says, shut up the words and seal that book, because this book's been sealed, man. No one's really had the understanding of this book in hundreds of years, man. Since YAHAWAHSHI pretty much died, man, through, when all the apostles and their disciples died off, this word was covered, man. It wasn't really out there anymore until the time where Elijah came back, which we know is Abu Bivens. He brought back the remembrance of ourselves. He brought us back to this understanding, man. And since then, the word's been preached, man. It's been out there, But at this time period that we're in right now, through the internet, through the unicorn, the word's being preached at a extreme volume, you know, it's out there, man, you know, and it says that knowledge should be increased, and that's the knowledge that's being increased, man. We got the understanding now of what the scriptures are talking about. When at one point we were in darkness, man, we truly understand everything that the scriptures are talking about, man. That's why it says in Ezekiel 8, this whole book, you know, we know the book back and forth, man. We know the prophecies that are in there. We understand the prophecies that are in there, which is an important part. And we understand what the scriptures talk about when it's talking about the Gentiles and when he said that you should go out to the Gentiles, because that's a big major thing with these Christians, man, that they preach that everybody could be saved, but that's not reality, man. Only Israel can be saved, you know. And when it talks about these Gentiles, talking about these other nations, these Israelites living under these other nations, man. You know, that's what it means. That's what it means pretty much, man. You know.
This is the book of Colossians 1 and 26. It says, even the mystery which had been hidden from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints, to whom the Most High would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles. All right, it says, which is Hamashiach in you, the hope of glory. All right, so when you look at that word Gentiles, man, it's ethnos. Right? It says, because it's talking about two Gentiles.
Yes.
The last one is, in the Old Testament, foreign nations not worshiping the true God, pagans, Gentiles. That's what it's talking about in one sense. Gentiles in the Old Testament is talking about the other nations. Now we read, all right, we read that the Lord was dealing with what? Only Israel. And he not know any other nation. All the other nations are like a drop falling from a bucket. You know, Isaiah, Amos, we read the 3rd verse where it said, he known only Israel throughout all the families of the earth. So that's one form of Gentiles. But the mystery of the Gentiles that is speaking in the New Testament, Paul was speaking about, because the scriptures speak about they wrestled with Paul's letters because they were hard to understand. But he was calling them basically, heathens, man. He was calling Israelites basically heathens because they went off. You know, they went off and they went into many captivities. They were scattered throughout the earth, lost their inheritance. That's in the book of Jeremiah. They lost everything about them. They lost, you know, their fringes. They lost, you know, their beards. They didn't circumcise their children. They were eating abominable foods, kind of like you find now today. That the other sense of the word Gentiles, it says in the blue letter, a multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus. It's talking about the same nature or the same genus, man. You're talking about the same bloodline, the same type of people, the human. It says a tribe, nation, people, group. That's what it's talking about in the New Testament. The Gentiles that he's speaking about are tribes, the 12 tribes, all right? A nation, a group of people. He's talking about Israelites, man. That's a mystery. You know what I'm saying? That's a mystery because the Lord at one time, he wasn't dealing with Israel like that. You know, he had turned his back and fought against Israel, and they totally lost their whole understanding. But the Lord's now bringing his people back and giving them the true, proper understanding of who they really are. Okay, you cannot mix yourself unless you're of the same tribe, same nation of people. There's no, you know, Paul spoke about that in Romans the 9th chapter.
No, man. So, you know, so that word Gentiles, it's always what these so-called scoffers corner, they try to figure out because they don't understand the true meaning of that word, man. You know, they translate things wrong because there's two different Greek words that are given for the word Gentiles, man. And one means are talking about our people, man, and the other means talking about these foreign nations. But through the Spirit, if the Spirit's working you'll understand that, man. You'll understand that, man. That's anything else?
Yeah, this is the book of Ephesians 2 and 11. It says, wherefore remember that he being in time past Gentiles in the flesh. All right. So at one time, Paul speaking to, you know, the Israelites that were Gentiles in the flesh. They were living like Gentiles in the flesh. But in Romans the 9th chapter over here, you read it, it says, in the 3rd verse, kinsmen according to the flesh. So Paul was accursed to his kinsmen according to the flesh. What's he talking about? He's talking about the people of his same tribe, the Israelites. All right, wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision, right? In the flesh made by hands. The Jews at one point, were calling them, all right, because did not Peter and the apostles have to go to Jerusalem and talk about, you have to be circumcised to make it. And they found out that you didn't have to be circumcised because, your circumcision, your uncircumcision, if you do the law, it counts as circumcision. Mm-hmm. So they were calling these people, they were calling them heathens. They were calling them, they didn't have no part in this, but the Lord revealed it unto them who they were. You know what I'm saying? It says that at that time you were without Hamashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. So, and that was us. We were aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. We didn't know we were Israelites, man. We were calling ourselves Mexicans. We're like, we're from, my people are from Chihuahua, or people are from Sonora, whatever the case may be. Nayarit, there's people like, we're from the Negroes, we're from Africa. Or the Gadites are saying, I'm from, or Arapaho, I'm a Navajo, I'm an Apache. That they were totally gone. They didn't know about the commonwealth of Israel. And strangers from the covenants. But who belonged to covenants, man? The Israelites. To who? To them pertaining the adoption, the covenants, the mysteries, man, the law. It says, from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. And that's what we were, man. We had no hope. All right? We were trying to what? Make in this life. This life, the scriptures tell you this place is going to be destroyed. That's no hope. No. There's no better. You hope for what? For your empire to be destroyed? It says, and without the Most High in the world. But now in Hamashiach YAHAWAHSHI, ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh by the blood of Hamashiach, because the Lord sent His Son to bring back what? The foreigners, man. The Israelites, the elected, were gone and scattered, the lost sheep, man. So that's what it's about, man. All right. You got a lot of people saying, about this. All people can make it. This and that. The Gentiles, man. The Gentiles is two forms. Either the Gentile by another nation and not an Israelite, or an Israelite's living like the Gentiles, all gone and lost and not knowing that they have a law, judgment, statute, and commandments to live by.
Bro. That's basically how we, breaking it down, man. You got the confusion of faith. You got the misunderstanding of the word Gentile. And through the Spirit, we bringing these things out to clarify, man, to let you know that no matter what, the word YAHAWAHSHI is going to stand. Saying this truth that we're in, that we believe in, that we persuaded in our own mind to trust in, and to give our life for if we have to. We know that this is the truth, man. And so with that being said, man, we just want to, we hope it was edifying. We just want to encourage brothers to keep on, who cares about what a fucking scoffer says, man? Who cares about what this corner says, man? You know why? Because we have the tools and ammunition to cut those scoffers up, man. We have the word of the Most High. And the scripture says that it cuts, man. So they're going to continue to scoff, and we're going to continue to cut, man. All the way to the end. That being said, man, hope the lesson was edifying. Say, RAWCHAA YAHAWAH, RAWCHAA YAHAWAHSHI, RAWCHAA YAHAWAH, RAWCHAA YAHAWAHSHI, RAWCHAA YAHAWAH, RAWCHAA YAHAWAHSHI. Shalom.